Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Diary of an Early Years Educator. I am Emily and I'm going to chat to you about the realities and the ins and outs of working in the early years. This week, I'm going to be diving into organisation within an early years room. I have some pet peeves, I have some must-dos, and I have some, this might just make your life a little bit easier, kind of tips ready. But to kick us off, I'm going to do our what went well, what can I do differently next time, and our absolutely has to change. So my what went well for this week is, let's have a think. I think I've done lots of things outside of my work life that have filled up my happiness cup. So I've spent time watching the NFL with Ben, which might sound ridiculous to some people, but we really enjoy doing that. So that's made me feel good. I've spent time with family. I've spent time with friends. I just feel like that has been really positive for me. I've done a lot of stuff outside of work that has made me feel really, really good. My what can I do differently? What might I change? It's got to be my early nights. I've got to get better at it. I do not feel good when my alarm goes off still. So we're getting better, but I think I need to get a bit better at that. And then my absolutely has to go. Absolutely has to go. I think allowing other people's negativity to get to me has to go. I've come across quite a few either negative comments on things or just negative chatter in settings, and I don't have time for that negativity. So that is what has to go, is me absorbing other people's negativity. I think that's my gotta go. Let me know yours in the comments below. Commenting on the podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast, giving it a rating really does help. So the engagement is really, really crucial. So I would really appreciate if you took the time to do that. It would really help me. So thank you for that. A reminder that the Early Years Network platform is still there. It's still what I do. I'm still posting out learning and development videos for everyone in the early years. So go and check them out. But this week, we are talking about organisation within a room in a nursery or an early years setting. If you're a childminder, if you work in a reception class, in a nursery in a school, in a nursery building, whatever it is, organisation. I don't know about anybody else, but I am far more organised in an early years setting than I am in any other part of my life. I think I can remember clothes, shoes, names, allergies, intolerances, preferences, comforters. Those are the things that stick in my brain. I can't often remember something if you've told me and I need to go and do it 10 minutes later in the office. They're not the things that stick with me. But across our 4 settings, if I hear a name, I will know if that child has got an allergy because I've worked with them before. And those are the things that stick. So that's the kind of organisation in my brain that sticks with me. But I want to talk about organisation within a room because there's certain things in different age groups that are going to be different. So in a baby room, your nappies, your wipes, spare clothes, bags, comforters, they're huge, like bedding. Those things are huge in a baby room. Very similar in a twos room as well. But then you've got toilet training, and toilet training brings its own kind of level of organisation because you are doing regular trips to the bathroom and you've got to be organised with where your staff are and where your children are and things like that. And then in a preschool room, it's more about your organisation of your space and your children. The amount of children per adult, like, doubles from the twos room. So you've got to be on it in terms of your organisation, but then your environment needs to be organised too. So organisation within a room is so important. And I do have some pet peeves. I do have some things that I really struggle to concentrate in a room with if this is going on. So say if you've got like an nappy area, for example, if I can't get to nappies for a specific child because there's no name on them, or their names are rubbed off, if it's in markup, if it's in like a whiteboard pen, or if they've been jumbled up, there's nothing worse than trying to do a round of nappies or pull-ups. We all know how I feel about pull-ups. And everything not being in where it should be. Whether you've got baskets, whether you get them out every day for each child, like whatever it is, you need to do it consistently. You need to do it well. Like, think about your nappy area. If somebody's coming in to do nappies and going into your bathroom or your changing area, are they going to be able to access the right children's nappies and the right wipes? It drives me up the wall when those sorts of things aren't clear, because it's a point in the day that we know we do every single day. We do it multiple times a day. We're in that bathroom changing nappies all the time. So why is it that that area is not organised? Just give everyone a laminated card with their name on and stick it on a basket in front of their nappies. It's just, I don't know, that's one thing that really bugs me. And then organisation as in pegs. Please put names on pegs. Like, it's so easy. And that's when things get lost and go missing. Put this on your peg. Well, if a child doesn't know where their peg is because it's not got their name on or a picture of them on, then how on earth are they ever going to find it again? And you can't blame the child for that. That is something that we have to do better. So in terms of organisation with those sorts of things, it's our responsibility to label things within the nursery. It's our responsibility to make sure that children's belongings have a place. So that would be my number one. Reflect on your environment, and does everything have a place? Does everybody have a space to put their belongings, whether it's bags, coats, nappies, change of clothes, whatever it is? Does everything have an organised space? Because that is one of my biggest get-ups. It drives me crazy. So that is number one. Number two, in terms of organisation, this is one for parents. Have confidence to tell your parents this. Please label your children's belongings, clothes, comforters, whatever it may be. Please label them. And if parents have labelled them, put them in the child's bag. Like, if a child drops a comforter, scoop it up. Either have a box basket for comforters that's in the room, or just put it back in their bag. Like, don't just pop it on the side. Like, let's do something with it. Unless that child is going to need it back in 30 seconds, you know where it is. But just be one step ahead of yourself. Like, put it in a bag, put it in the comforters box, whatever that looks like for you. Do it, because if parents have gone out of their way to label things, just make sure they go back in the right space. And if everything's got a label, it's going to go back to the right place. So yeah, that would be my next one. Parents, please label everything. Just do it. Just label everything. It makes our life so much easier when everything has a label on it, like 100 times easier. Next up for organisation is your organisation of your staff. And that will depend on your environment, because if you're in an environment where you're very free flow, you'll be able to put your staff in different areas. And I think that is something that we can all work at doing a little bit better, maybe. Like, talk to each other. I think communication and organisation go hand in hand. Like, you can do it better, I'm sure, because where you situate your staff is key. Some people don't like to be put in an area because they want to just chat to someone else, and that's not what we're there for. So we are there for supervising and interacting and educating children. So if you need to be somewhere that's not right next to another adult because it's going to benefit the children, then unfortunately that's where you have to be. That's where you have to get the most out of the children. But make it fair. Like, if someone has spent the whole morning outside and the weather's starting to turn, like, let's swap. Let's be kind to each other. Unless somebody is absolutely loving being outside in the freezing cold, then fine. But if somebody has been in that situation or in that area for so long, think about where we're putting staff and the organisation of staff. Your ratios will sort of cover that as well. Like, your ratios will determine where your staff need to be. But think about your organisation of staff and your environment, because it will all line up. It will all be key to each other. So I think that is crucial in making sure that we're getting our organisation correct. And in terms of organisation, it's a funny one, because for me, being organised, I actually find it day to day very difficult. Like, I struggle to be organised in terms of, I think last week I talked about my to-do list. I need to get better at prioritising what is important. And that is something in the day-to-day in a nursery setting that we have to get right. Like, what is the priority? What is the priority in the morning, the afternoon, locking up, opening up a building? Like, what is your priority? So have a think about what that is. For me, I think it's really important to communicate with the other people in your environment and prioritize together, because your priority might differ from someone else's priority for the day, because you're finding different things and you're looking at situations differently. So being able to talk and collaborate with others is a really important thing to do. I hope that makes sense. But I think it's really important to communicate with each other for organisational purposes. I think that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. So I'm really hoping it makes sense to you listening to this. Otherwise, you're going to be, shut up, Emily, what on earth is going on? But that is the reality of this diary. Diary entry number 1, 2, technically, maybe. So yeah, I think it's going to be organisation is key to a successful day. I've gone off on a train of thought and I don't know where I am. Usually at this point is where Ben would bring me back on track. I'm going to have to do that myself today. Okay, so organisational tips and tricks. So let's go through some organisational tips and tricks that I think work and I think will support with anybody who's trying to get organised within a setting. Okay, number 1, a to-do list. Like I said, mine's a bit higgledy-piggledy at the moment, but I think a to-do list helps. I think a to-do list takes it out of your brain and puts it on paper, and you can then work through it as part of your team. You can have your own personal to-do list that you need to do, but if you've got things in the room in terms of organisation, like your nappy labels or just the routine of the day, get it down on a piece of paper and then allocate to people, give everybody something to do, like share the job load. So that is number 1, get it out of your head, put it down on paper, let everybody see it and break the jobs up. Done. Organisational tip number 2, make sure everything's got a label. Put a label on everything. Now, whether that is a handwritten card with laminated and stuck on, great, fantastic, printed it, whatever that looks like. In terms of organisation, labels will make things easier because everybody is going to know where everything is and it's not difficult. There's no second guessing. Number 3, if you have made a mess or you have rearranged chaotically an area, you be the one to put it back and tell everybody that it is like it is because of whatever reason. Like, you've had to change 3 nappies that have all had to have a change of clothes. There's nappy bags we've changed the clothes in. There's actual bags of children's belongings in the bathroom. And there's things everywhere. And it looks like a bum's hit it. Tell people, I am just dealing with this. Nobody touch it because I know where everything is and I'm going to sort it. That's where your communication comes in. But if you've made the mess, be the one to sort it out. Be the one to go and organise it. Don't leave it to somebody else who doesn't know why all those things are everywhere. You know? Be the person to be like, okay, I'm going back to it. I'm going to sort it out. Don't just walk away from a mess, because the next person who tries to organise it isn't going to know whose all those clothes belong to. And then things are going to go pear-shaped again. So if you've made the mess, go and clean it up. So what have we got so far? Number 1 is get it out of your brain and get it down on paper. Number 2 is labels, labels, labels. Number 3 is if you made the mess, go and sort it out. And number 4 is communication. Communication and organisation are 2 things that work together. And if you can communicate with each other, things become more organised. You're able to manage your time better, but that's a different episode. We've got all the different things that if you talk to someone, your organisation comes with it, because you'll know where things are and how to find things. It's like folders. If they've got labels on them and you can communicate with people where everything is, then nobody should have a problem with finding where things are within your environment. It's so easy to get it wrong. It's so easy to fall into a habit of not being organised. But that is when everyone feels all over the place, and the children included. That is where things go upside down, and that is where people lose the love of it because they don't know what they're doing and they feel lost. So communication. So they're my 4 tips. We've got get it out of your head, write it down. Labels, labels, labels. If you've made the mess, go and organise it. And communication. Just talk to each other and things will start to become organised because everyone will know what's going on, and being open with each other is crucial for that especially. So my takeaway for this episode, diary entry, is have a think. So your advice to take into practice in terms of organisation within your room is, if someone brand new can't come in and find nappies, accident forms, paperwork, anything, bags, labels, comforters, whatever it is, if somebody can't come in and find them or listen to an instruction on how to find them, it's not organised enough. So walk into a room that's not usually yours and ask someone for the accident forms. Can I have your accident forms? Now, if the response is, oh yeah, they're in that cupboard somewhere, their room is not organised enough. It's not. Whereas if it's, yep, they're in that folder on the wall that says accident forms, stunning. Thank you so much. It's there, it's labelled. Probably could have found that myself. So that is my takeaway. If someone can't walk into your room, ask you where something is, and you can tell them exactly where it is and labelled, you probably need to do some organising in your environment to just help things. Now, this probably sounds like I'm probably asking people to suck eggs. And I've just realised that I've gone on for 15 minutes talking about labelling things. But I can't tell you how many times I go into places and there's stuff, like there's baskets full of things that don't need to be in those baskets. And it's really, really frustrating, especially when you tidy it. Like if I've tidied an area and organised it and put labels on it and you go back and it's not, it's one of the most infuriating things ever. And I'm sure everybody listening to this will get that feeling like, oh, I've done this for you. Why on earth has it not just been kept up? Like, why are the labels gone? Where do labels go? That is my question. Where do all the labels go when they've been put up? Where? I don't get it. Yes, sometimes children take them all off. I get it. But that needs to be part of your close down, doesn't it? You need to get those labels back on. I don't know. Organisation for me in a nursery environment or in an early years environment is so important. Labels on boxes for toys, labels on environments. Yeah, it just makes life easier. It makes everyone feel better. It makes everyone feel like they know what's going on. And it's one way to just keep morale up because everyone isn't on edge of what's coming next or where everything is. It's just important. So there you go. This diary entry was organisation within early years. It's something a little bit nitpicky. And next week I'll do something a little bit more lighthearted, I think, hopefully. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. How do you keep things organised? How do you make sure that everybody is on top form when they are in your environment? Let me know. Next week, I will be doing a question of the week. So I'm going to pop it on our Instagram page. So if you don't follow the Early Years Network, follow the Early Years Network and you will see next week's question of the week. We will start that from next week. And I want to know your what went well, what can I change, and my absolutely has to go as well. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you joining me for another diary entry, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.